Life After the Fire, preeminent podcast for all things to do with having an amazing life after a career in the fire service. My name is Chris Phelps. I'm your host, and I'm joined today with retired Battalion Chief Tom Murphy.
Hey, Chris, how you been, man?
Good. So Tom and I, we've known each other over 30 years.
Over 30 years, man.
At least something like late 80s, I think.
Yeah.
When did you start the fire department? Like
89? I started paid 89, but 89? I volunteered in 87.
Okay, yeah. So we started at a department here in South Florida that's around the same time, 87. I was still a little punk kid in high school as a junior volunteer firefighter, and Tom was one of the real volleys, if you
trying to grow up.
Yep. And Tom's had an amazing career. And you did how many years of service did you do?
I did paid 30 years paid and 36 with volunteer time.
Wow. Okay, so 30 years paid. So now, but I know a little bit about you. So you did some of that. You did in the drop, right?
Yes. I did a full 5 years drop.
5-year drop. So when you went out, you had 25 years credited service plus a nice healthy, I got to imagine, a nice healthy drop account.
Yeah, very much so.
Cool. Very much. Like I got to imagine you did some stuff on the side as well.
I did a lot of stuff on the side. We had a lot of things going on, brother. We did the 457. One of my big things that I talk to some of the young guys about now, I may or may not have threatened to write them up for not putting money into their 457, but it's that important to me. I did the 457. I did a Roth. We had a shares plan back in the day. So that was a little extra on the side that the state was giving us to. And then, other investments throughout, and paying off the mortgage,
early,
paying it down early. I mean, you make some right moves and it works a lot better in the end of your career.
So we were on different shifts throughout the time that we were working together. We've always stayed in contact, and since I've been back, we reconnected and got out fishing and we were talking. I'll never forget this. We were talking, we're fishing out there and we're just getting caught up. Hey, what's this guy doing? Hey, what's that guy doing? Hey, where's he at? Oh, he retired, but he didn't do the drop, and now he's, can't afford to live. And it was eye-opening. It was like, I had wanted to do this thing to help pour into the current, but also the next generation of firefighters. Like, hey, you need to have your financial house in order before you even start thinking about retirement. And while there are plenty of success stories, which I consider your story a success story, there's plenty of stories that didn't go as well.
Correct. And, and you're absolutely right. And I just was talking to a buddy of mine who's not in the fire service, construction, and was telling him, unfortunately, we had guys walk away because they talked themselves out of it. That's the only thing I can come up with where, they've literally have gotten physically sick when they put numbers, pencil to the paper and realized the options they had and walked away from tons of money.
Yeah. Cause not everybody is able to walk away from this career and jump into something else and make the same amount of money.
Correct.
Like if they could, then they could, they can in essence do their own kind of a drop account, if you will, right? Double dip in that form or that respect. But, there's obviously big advantages to, if all is the fire department and all you're good at is the fire department, and you're not necessarily good at managing money and you don't have anybody in your corner to help you manage your money, then in that case, maybe doing the drop is the smartest move out there.
Correct. And a lot of people don't have a plan. A big thing for me is if you have less than 10 years before you walk out the door, less than 10 years before you walk out the door and or drop. If you have less and you don't have a plan and haven't started enacting that plan, you're already behind the 8 ball. I talk to guys that, oh yeah, in 3 years, I'm going to drop and do that. Well, what do you got in place? Well, I'll worry about it later. No, man. You should have been worrying about that 5 years ago. You got to get your ducks in a row and plan it all out, Chris, because, curveballs happen, divorce happens, sickness happens, things like that.
Yeah.
But if you don't have a plan, at least an outline, you definitely can screw yourself.
So Tom was just showing me just before we went on air. He's got this. You can pull it out. He's got this thing in his phone.
Oh, my budget.
This man has got a budget like it looks like a city budget to me, man. He's got everything.
Well, first I want to
mapped
say,
out.
My wife is like Al Capone's bookkeeper. She knows how to do it and how to make it work.
Uh-huh.
But my budget is, I got everything on there. The insurance and stuff, your typical bills, FPL and things like that. But we're down to fertilizer and mulch. How much does it take to do that throughout the year? We put away money for some use the envelope system, which works for people. Some dip back into them. But I got everything down here. Pool pump service every 5 years. So I put $12 a month away. So there's 100, 100 and what's that, $24 a year, whatever.
Yeah.
And and it goes through resurfacing in my pump, the pool filter, the reoccurrent, obviously your doctor stuff, but your car payments, your oil changes. People don't put that in there. They think, oh, I'm going to go pay $50. Well, guess what? If it comes out of you,
it adds up.
And I got to tell you, for 20 years, I get the same $100 a week allowance that I've gotten. It didn't matter how much overtime I worked, any incentives I got, and I made it work for me. And now that I'm retired, I still get the same $200 every 2 weeks. And that's, my going out to lunch money or fishing money and stuff, and I make it work, So, but everything's in that.
Yeah, that is probably more detailed than a city budget from what I've seen. So, like, how long have you been doing that?
That budget we've been doing probably since, over 32 years.
And how
since
did,
I was about 28.
Wow. So, and you guys have been married now, what, how long? 30?
We've been married 32 years.
32 years. Okay.
And,
And starting this, how'd that conversation go? Like, hey, we need to.
Well, it goes slow.
Okay.
It goes slow. You go, when we first started, we'd save a little bit for vacations, put some vacations on a card, come back, pay off the vacation, then pick the next place. And over time, we were like, well, we're spending, round numbers, 3,000 going on vacation. So it was 1,500 before and making it up, and then do another one until you had the other 15. So then what we did was just sit back and go, okay, well, how about if we just put away a bunch every month? If we looked at our bills and that was extra, let's tuck it away. Let's not do that. And going out to dinner and lunches are in my budget. I could put it on a card or whatever and pay it off. I get the points.
Yeah.
So, everything's a little bit at a time, and it grows with you. You have kids, it grows. You got tuition, it grows. You got, prepaid, it grows. But at the end of the day, if you can get the most you can, you respect your money and it respects you. You know where your money's going. These cats that go to Starbucks, one Starbucks every day, 5 days a week for 52 weeks, $1,300, man. Yeah. I order gourmet, Pulp Fiction, gourmet coffee. I make my own. I pay 47 cents a cup at home. Yeah. Dude, don't drink that much coffee.
Now, putting together a budget is one thing. Living a budget is another thing. Implementing a budget causes a lot of can cause a lot of marital strife. But it sounds like you guys were on board with it from day one.
Yeah, and I'm lucky. There's no doubt about it. I'm lucky. I have a wife that doesn't go out and buy. We made an agreement that if it's over $300, we talk about it. Okay. Period. And it could just be, hey, I want to buy this and it's $305. Or I call up, hey, I need a new gun. But, I've never been told no. It's just, all right, we got to find the money.
Yeah.
So, I've been blessed because, my spouse doesn't go out and run up stuff or, if she's going out shopping, she'll, she's within reason because we work together. We're in a nice partnership.
Yeah. So you got a good team going. That's huge. And probably the only way that something like this will work, because otherwise you're going to be button heads. You're not going to be agreeing on it. Stuff starts to, well, I'm going to hide this money over here and have my own little account, you know, and
that just
that's just a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
That's awesome.
And for me, you know, be responsible, you know, and if you're not responsible, get responsible. And if you are, make it better. You know, that's the only way. You know, we only go through this world once. We know it as firefighters. You know, stuff happens, shit happens. But at the end of the day, you know, plan, execute, adapt when it comes, have a plan B, plan C, and roll with it, Chris.
Yeah. So what I found with the new guys coming on board, you know, they're, you know, a lot of them are fresh out of high school, fresh out of the fire academy, first real job they've ever had, you know, aside from, you know, working at Starbucks or Uber Eats or whatever. And now they're thrust into this position where not only do they need to learn how to be a firefighter, but they need to learn how to be an adult.
Correct.
And a huge part of adulting that isn't really taught in class is financial planning and personal finance. You know, you got to resist the urge to run out and get your $600 a month or $800 a month truck payment with, you know, nice big tires and lift and all that stuff.
Brand new trucks.
It's like, good. I hope you like that truck. You're going to be living in it because you can't afford to buy a house now. Yeah,
exactly. And you're right. And, you know, the big one is, and somebody put it out there, and I'll clean up a little bit just because, you know, I was asked to from the missus. But, you know, if we sat around the dinner table talking about significant others or talking about trying to get a significant other, trying to get rid of a significant other, if we spend that much time talking about finances around the dining room table at the firehouse, we would be rich.
Yeah.
Rich, comfortable.
Yeah.
You know, rich is a relative term. It doesn't matter. But,
exactly.
You know, but at the end of the day,
I think Bob Marley says it best. How do you find rich?
But it's true.
Possessions make you rich?
No.
And I don't have those riches.
And I guess my wife's lucky too, because I've never been a money guy. I don't care about it. I've, you know, had some, lost some, gave some away, whatever. Yeah. It just, we don't argue about money. I don't care. I make it, I lose it. You know, as long as my house, you know, I'm happy. I got a roof over my head and, you know, everything else that comes with that.
So one of the things I think that departments obviously are really good about is, you know, they have the, you know, new hire orientation program. Teach them, you know, all right, you know, you learned how to do this in the fire academy. Well, this is how we do it here. You learned about red trucks in the fire. Well, we got green trucks, you know, so they're real good about that kind of stuff. But, you know, an important element, and I think it would solve a lot of fire department problems, is, you know, include a personal finance component in your orientation program.
Correct.
For guys, right?
Yeah.
Because what's a big reason that fire departments have turnover?
Retirement pay.
Yeah.
I mean,
pay and benefits. Pay and benefits 9 times out of 10. Somebody's leaving to go to Metro, or they're going to the county, or they're going to the big other department. Pay and benefits. You know, we can only do so much about pay and benefits, but if we teach the guys and gals, you know, how to live within those means, and you know, think of how much of a better employee you've got, because they, you know, hopefully will take that to heart and be more of an appreciative employee for, you know, what they've picked up or what they've learned from their department. But also prevent a lot of the turnover. It's not going to fix everything.
You know, but the guys that want to go to county and work with their brothers or whatever, you know, there's, you know,
sure.
And never begrudge somebody for going where they think's going to better them. That's not an issue.
Of course.
You know, and it is you know, the young guys come in and try to give them the talk and go, look, you know, you got to put in your defer comp. You know, if people walked into fire service that has a defined benefit, you know, retirement pension, you know, and you put in your 457, 401k, whatever, like you don't have it, when you leave and that pension is still there, then you're good. I mean, there's only defined benefit pensions are 15% left in America. That's it out of the total population of work.
They're not exactly, putting more of them together. If anything, you're seeing an erosion of those benefits, and even with the state here in Florida, I think when new employees come on that are in the Florida retirement system, I think they're given an option of the defined benefit or the investment. It's like investment plan, or
it's defined benefit and defined contribution.
So they get the option. I don't recall what the default is
into.
Okay.
That's defined benefit.
That's what I thought. So, if you're not getting an education in that right off the bat, you're gonna wind up with just this lump sum, which may or may not be enough for retirement. Not saying that a defined benefit will always be enough, but if you're comparing the two, depending on your situation, but for the most part, a defined benefit is going to provide you.
Well, it's easier if you know what you got coming in, Chris. You're absolutely right. And I experienced it with some older friends and people that I know that if you put away enough money to live like you are until you're 80 with a defined contribution, and you live to 85, those last 5 years are real lean, man. Yeah. And it's sad to see that happening in America, period. But, at least with a defined benefit where you know what check you're getting in that, you can adjust and all that. Look, mine's not keeping up with inflation right now. Nobody's is. But at the end of the day, at least I can tweak my things and go, okay, I'm going to have to,
But when you say it's not keeping up with inflation, you're not talking about your defined benefit pension, because that's the same amount you're getting every month. What you're talking about is like your
my investments
and other investments.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. So,
and the advice on the investments, and, I don't advocate anybody other than talking to people.
Yeah.
I got a buddy I went to high school with as a financial advisor. I talked to him. My brother was a financial advisor. I talked to him. I talk to the big people in the companies. I go to some of those free ones and just see what they're spewing, just to see if there's any ideas out there that may work for me. Yeah. And I was on the pension board for 16 years, so I cheat a little bit, member of the Florida Public Pensions Trustee. I was a certified public pension trustee. Yeah. And
so you got a lot more education behind you than the average bear.
Yeah. And I still don't know anything. It's a full-time job, Chris.
Yeah.
Watching your money is a full-time job. But if you're for the people out there, if you're not putting your 1s, 5s, 10s, 20s, 50s, 100s in your wallet, if you're lucky enough to have that all facing right, all in order, you're not respecting your money. Once again, it comes back to knowing what you have and what you put out there. And it's not being cheap, frugal, whatever you want to call it. It's just going, look, I work hard. I sweat. For us, we risk our life for this money. And why would you just throw it away? Go have fun, go gamble, go play, do whatever, vacations and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, be responsible, man.
Yeah. That's it. That's good. That's really good. And, it's rooted in a strong foundation, and, having your financial house in order solves a lot of problems that come up.
And we got to do better at the firehouse, like you said. Yeah. These people are walking, most of them are coming from bartender and other positions that they're now making more money than they ever have.
Yeah.
Some have walked away from some just for the security and stuff. And I get that. And, they come in and it's like, look, you never made that. That's where I came in. This is what you're putting in your deferred comp. And I want you to show me your receipt that you're putting something in there, or I'm making something up, writing you up. They never did it, but I always straighten them. Yeah, you're washing my truck.
That's kind of
grease the undercarriage.
That's kind of stuff we used to do. I tell you, we would have a gentleman's poker game at the firehouse after dinner sometimes, and like a little poker tournament, and that was the whoever won. The other guys had to wash their personal vehicle.
And it's good stuff. And, and know what your pension is. The saddest thing for 16 years on our pension was having the same 5 members of the pension board with the attorney there and nobody in the audience, and it's their pension. They vote us in or we get, put on the board, and they just trust us. Right. And that's why I like talking to other people. I have a couple different my money's in a couple different places. Mm-hmm. And thank goodness I did that. The Madoff, everybody knows about Madoff. But at the end of the day, our board came real close to invest some money with him. There was a lot of pensions that took a hit from that. And we just couldn't make sense of the numbers. Not saying we called bullshit on anything, but, and it took longer to vet some stuff out. And while we were doing it, that's when that house of cards collapsed. But, we were looking at it going, it was an easy one. The market's losing 6 and he's making 10. That's 16 plus. Yeah. It's like, wait a second, man. But it wasn't that way. That's it, the rear view mirror look. Yeah. But, how lucky were we? We didn't take the beating like, a lot of places did.
Well, years ago, this department, their pension plan, from what I remember, it was like invested with just like an insurance company.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. Right.
Yes, it was.
And it took a lot of wrangling to get it moved away from there and moved it into more actively managed investing, and the guys and gals have now reaped the benefits of that.
Correct. And
that's huge.
When I jumped on it, we were 47% funded, Chris.
Wow.
And when I walked out the door, we were close to 89%, 87% funded. The state almost came in and took our plan over because of the previous decisions. Yeah. And we made a lot of hard decisions and a lot of talks. We were lucky that, and I'll even give a shout out to the city. They added some extra when they could, and that, which you don't hear a lot of. Mm-hmm. And, when we made decisions to bring down a funding ratio, a lot of people, this is going to be, a little boring, but at the end of the day, what I'm getting at is know your pension, know what it offers you. It doesn't matter what state you're in, but know what you got and what you're going to get.
Read your plan. If you don't, at the very least, read your summary plan description. If you don't understand it, then, get with your pension board members. If they can't explain it to you, I want to,
you might want to show up to some meetings,
but get a good understanding of that. So you know what you have working for you, and know where you can fill in the gaps, because, you mentioned 401k, 457, those are supplemental retirement plans. Hey, we got to do that together, man.
I just want to see if I liked it.
When these are supplemental investment plans that are afforded to public safety personnel, so that they can supplement and fill in the gaps that their pension might leave them with. So get to understand those, understand your pension plan, understand what those gaps, and get the help of some professionals, if not just
right. And I'm not an advisor.
Talking to guys around the dinner table as well. That solves a lot of problems. But also, having a good financial plan that's rooted or put together by a team of financial professionals
that are fiduciaries. Somebody that's working in your best interest, not for the buck. Right. They're getting paid, but they're if they make you money, you make money. Exactly. And the gap, segue into it. It's the gaps that people don't understand. That's why I said get a plan. If you're within 10 years and you're not planning, so you retire, you're going to go play with your significant other, your spouse, whatever. Mm-hmm. And, you're leaving a job. So, in our case, I lost 25% of my salary walking out the door because of the way the pension's set up. If you want your significant other to go play with, do they have a pension? Do they have anything saved? Are they going to be able to walk out the door? So technically, you literally could walk out the door and lose 125% of your household income.
Yeah.
So are you ready for it?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. And, people just don't, it's no good to retire and do that. And just so everybody knows, I'm busier now than I've ever been,
Uh-huh.
and we're doing all right.
Good, good. And would you say that your income or your consumption level is at or below when you first retired, or above?
It is below.
Okay, so
Um,
you're not spending as much as you did before you retired.
Correct. And it's easy to spend more
Yeah.
because you have more time to get in trouble and you run into Home Depot or wherever
Yeah.
and doing things and the travel and the stuff. But you're absolutely right. And you have to prepare for that. I mean, we know that we're going to be thousands short until my wife's pension kicks in. And I save for it. I plan for it. That was the thing. I walked out, I paid for the insurance. It's more than a mortgage payment, but we have great insurance and I can't get it back if I leave it. So I'm still with the city's insurance paying it. But I planned for it when the drop kicked in, I took the money I was putting into the pension, the 8%, and went straight into my 457 so I could take that money out and pay. The other thing guys don't realize when they get their final average, they take FICA out of there. You're still paying federal taxes, people. So, your pension goes down on that. Then you add in that insurance, it goes down on that. And then, by the time you're done, you think, oh, well, they give you this wonderful number because, I'm walking out the door. I'm only making a couple thousand less than I did when you were working with overtime. And next thing you know, it's like, whoa, like people,
Sticker shock.
Yeah, put in there, income taxes. It's all pre-tax dollars for us.
Yeah.
So
you're paying taxes on it once you retire. And the thought process is that, when you retire, your income will be less. So your income taxes paid will be less. And
guess
that's
what,
not
guys?
always the case.
It's a two-sided blade right there because, we're blessed enough. I always say, I don't talk, my public pension outside the people that are in it because the outside world doesn't get it and it's not their fault. It's just, there's a jealousy factor. There's some that just go, hey, you guys risk your lives. We got guys, dying and that. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's, when you start talking finances, you don't do that with other people.
It's probably the single, would you agree? Probably the single most important or coveted benefit of working in the fire service.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. Yeah. At least, if you're walking out at a certain time, this is what your pay is going to be for the rest of your life. And you can take a little less or whatever for your
you get some options
other. And that's putting a pencil to it. Once again, that goes back to planning. You got to sit and plan. What does your significant other have? What do you have? Where are you at? Did you pay off your house? Did you pay off your car? Did you put away a nest egg? And did you live within your means? Like you said, I don't drive. Well, that's a lie, but I plan for it.
Yeah.
I do have the big truck, but it's part of pulling the camper, people.
Yeah.
And I'm retired. So it's good stuff. It really is.
So since retirement, are you guys doing anything work-wise, or are you?
No, we're watching the grandbaby. Awesome. We're playing, just soaking all that in. I worked so hard in the beginning. I remember doing it with my daughter when she was little, but I don't recall it because you're trying to survive. Young couple, and getting into it, and it's it's a little rough. So so now I'm lucky enough to be 57 years old and have a grandbaby, and everything's going great. So I get to play. I mean, I do. Some consulting on the side, but nothing, nothing earth shattering.
No heavy lifting.
no heavy lifting. Work smarter, not harder, guys.
There you go. There you go.
Mm.
Cool. So I like to keep these, at about the 30-minute mark, and I think we're getting pretty close to that. I'm sure I know we have plenty of stuff that we could talk about and delve back into, but I like to leave these with a call to action. I think just based on our talk, I would say the call to action for those of you that are currently on the job, whether you're brand new firefighter or already well into your career, you You need to be looking towards that retirement. Start planning. What's it going to look like? What are my finances going to look like? Am I going to be able to not work after retirement? Am I going to have to work after retirement? Figure those things out. Get yourself a good, solid financial plan, and get yourself a budget to work with.
Budget's the first thing. Get on that budget, even if you start small early.
Yeah,
that's what you have to do. Put something away in your 457, Roth, whatever. Put it away.
Yeah. Awesome. So if you like what you're hearing on our show, like, follow, and share. If you want to reach out to us, you can reach us by email at info@latfpodcast.com. That's latfpodcast.com. We'll see you on the next one.